salutations, my great friends.
John and Kaylee here, part 5. What are you here for? Personal clarity. This video is called Weed the Garden. Weed the Garden. As I mentioned in the priorities list drill, becoming your best self is very much a process of subtraction, not addition. And plus, this will kind of also lend clarity as to what it actually means to be the best version of yourself. And Kaylee had some questions herself, so we're going to start this video with her reading her questions.
Okay, so my first question on my list is, what makes a great friend?
What makes a great friend? You know I love that question.
Yes.
You are the average of the people you surround yourselves with. So, what makes a great friend? It's one that encourages you to be the best version of yourself. It's not one that wants to go out on Friday nights and do shots. It's not one that wants to post every second of their life on Facebook. It's one that encourages you to be your best self. And Kaylee, if you have a friend and they don't encourage you to be your best self, what do you say to them?
Weed the garden.
Oh, that is right.
Yes. So my second question is, what makes a good career?
This one, I admit, is very complicated, but we're here to be the best version of ourselves. And our careers, our calling, our purpose, it should naturally flow right into that. Your career should leave you at the end of the day not exhausted, not beat down, not wanting to go to a pathetic wind down Wednesday because you made a bad choice in life. It should leave you at the end of the day a better version of yourself. And if your job, Kaylee, is a drag and you have a mean leader and a bossy micromanager, everything in life is a choice. Mm-hmm. So what should your choice be?
Weed the garden.
Oh, that's right.
The next one is, what makes a good leader?
I think you all probably can figure out the flow. If you want to be a great leader, you can read any leadership book you want, and you can make it as complicated as you want. But at the end of the day, you should be walking in as a leader and going, how can I help my team become a better version of themselves? Because a company can never be the best version of itself if the leaders aren't driving that out of the team. If you're a leader who micromanages people, all it proves is that you did a crappy job hiring. Because if you hire with rigorous discipline, you don't need to micromanage people. You just need to get behind the train and encourage. Mm-hmm. Kaylee, if your boss said, I want you to work 90 hours a week and I want to micromanage you, what do you need to do?
Weed the garden.
Yes!
And next, what makes a great parent?
Okay? Look, I've made every parenting mistake in the book. It's a fact. But I learned from those mistakes. What makes a great parent is one who doesn't drive their kid around to 10 sports, who don't mean anything, it's not a parent who wants to live vicariously through their children. It's a parent who's constantly, how can I help my children be better? How can I help them to be the best version of themselves? How can I help them live their dreams? How can I help them still be children? Just like Kaylee, a few months back. Hey, Kaylee, what's your dream for 2020? Dad, I want to do something that alleviates suffering in the world, and thus this channel was born. That's the byproduct of encouraging that out of your kids. Your kids say, I want to make a difference. Proud as I could be.
The next one is, what makes a great husband?
A great husband is a husband who encourages his wife to be the best version of herself. And I guess maybe in some cases these days, himself. And I guess in some days right now, we're not using this gender thing, which is a little strange for me. But if you're a husband, if you're a wife, if you're in a relationship, it should be all about encouragement and not codependency. If your relationships are codependent, Kaylee, what do you need to do?
Weed the garden.
Yeah, you got to weed the garden. You got to have a healthy conversation. Relationships the greatest gift in the world, right up there with time. We're relational beings. Encourage each other. My wife just helped me edit a book and we're in it together, making it better. She's involved in our YouTube channel. You know, encouragement, leaving the world a better place. If you're not leaving the world a better place every day, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
What makes a great book?
Okay? A great book, it stimulates your intellect. It leaves you better off. You ever read a good book and you're like, you want to go share it? Books should drive out your best version. Okay? Doesn't mean every once in a while not reading one that's just, you know, getting a brain dump. But more often than not, reading books that lead you to be a better version of yourself. If you're reading the Playboy magazines or any stuff like that, those are not good books. You got to
weed the garden.
That's right. You got to weed the garden.
The next one is, what makes a good program?
And we're talking about TV programs here, okay? It's a very hot button topic for me. If you're watching hours and hours a day of wasting time with the Kardashians, the Not Real Housewives, 8 hours of sports, if your emotions are all tied up into sports, you're lost. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You're lost, okay? Programs should lead you to be a better version of yourself. Not saying all TV's bad, but you need to cut it back. 30 minutes, an hour a day tops. Your programs need to lead you to being a better version of yourself. And if not,
weed the garden.
Weed the garden.
What makes a great decision?
It's not the easy one. A great decision is the one that leaves you as the best version of yourself and leaves whoever else might be involved as a better version of themselves. The best decision is not always the easy one. You got to pick the one that leaves you as a better version of yourself.
What makes a great meal?
Okay? Food is for fuel. Okay? It should leave you a better version of yourself. With that said, there's a caveat. Okay? Food as entertainment, food as pleasure, once a week, totally fine. But if every night your meals are leaving you lethargic and tired and wanting to go crash on the lazy boy, once again, you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself and include it in meals, okay? I'm going to go ahead and say it because it's one of my most hot button topics, okay? Alcohol kills over 100,000 people a year. I have people tell me, oh, it helps me relax. You weren't created with a need to have something that kills you to help you relax, okay? Because that's eventually what it'll do. It'll kill you so bad that you'll be very relaxed as you lie in the coffin or in the crematorium. So your drinks, primarily water, a little bit of coffee, a little bit of tea, needs to leave you at a better version of yourself. Weed the garden of the booze.
What happens if something doesn't drive out the best of you?
What happens if something doesn't drive out the best you? David White, famously, I'm going to quote him, anything or anyone that does not bring you alive, it's too small for you. Anyone or anything that does not bring you alive is too small for you. Codependent friends, dysfunctional family members, booze, drugs, porn. You got to weed the garden. You're here to be the best version of yourself. A journey towards that is a journey away from something else. You got to have your priorities. You got to write your eulogy. You got to put on your what every day?
Oxygen mask.
And if it's not doing that,
weed the garden.
We'll see you next week for a really great short lesson on a secret word to live by. Thank you for being with us. Have a great day. Get out of the porta potty.